giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
We need your help to keep fun loud, live, and independent. For just $1, you can be our boss at patreon.com/funfrc. Pledge your support in September and you'll be eligible to win a Cooler Master MS-120 keyboard and mouse set.
All right, so moving on to our next topic is a big one to follow up on the trailer, and it's a pretty hot topic if you're in the Chief Delphi community or like me and just hear it, secondhand from other people. So there's a lot of unofficial FRC communities out there like Chief Delphi, Reddit, Discord, EWCP, and others that can both be extremely beneficial and can turn into giant cesspools of pointless discussion and make new and veteran members feel unwelcomed or just straight up jaded and done with the program. So while we want to keep this discussion to open to any FRC social communities, we do want to recognize that this is spawned off of the recent post on Chief Delphi with a clash between what is not appropriate to have in a forum discussion. So some topics that have come up are memes, personal information, where the line is drawn with YPP, and transparency with moderators or rules. So Marshall, you're frequently posting on Chief Delphi and on other forums, not to put you on the spot, but
No,
what do you see
coming.
in the future to kind of develop healthier communities and engagement and kind of setting the standard for students, not just adults, but setting the example for students that are looking up to the adults and following their lead?
This is a tough question. I have genuinely, the last 2 days, in fact, if anybody hasn't noticed, I've been notably absent from Chief from the last 2 days. And I did that intentionally. I've actually blocked it from my computer. I actually added a redirect to localhost for Chief so that I couldn't browse to it intentionally to keep me off of it. I'm just taking a break. I am keep taking a break from it because it just got to be too much, towards your point about wearing on you. So I don't know. I needed a break from it, so I'm taking it right now. I'll probably be back, but I got to get away for a little bit, clear my head of things. And I think to that end, something that would be positive, and I think Andy Baker mentioned it in one of the threads that was started. The moderation community on Chief really needs to kind of pause and take stock of things and take ownership. I don't like genuinely that members of the community have been the ones to start these discussions and not the moderators. And I'm sure that some of the moderators are having these discussions inside Chief or outside of it, but I really think they need to be the ones to start this and have these discussions with themselves, because when it gets put on us to do that, they lose control of the situation quickly. It's just not great leadership, in my opinion. So I don't know. That's kind of my take on it. I have tons to say. Obviously, I've been involved in this, and I don't know, just kind of a mess recently. So that's why I'm not there at the moment. If you're sending me private messages, I do get them and I'm responding. But outside of that, I'm just kind of not going to the site at the moment.
So Kristen, what about you? What is your take on all of this, and how kind of engaged and aware are you of everything that's been going on?
I'm going to be 100% honest. I didn't even know there were moderators on Chief Delphi, which is probably half of the problem.
Yes, that's part of the problem, as it turns out.
I think, and I don't know how those moderators are selected or whether there's a process, but I think if there are either members of the community that want to step up and help out with that kind of stuff and just enforce rules or make people more aware of them, so that Chief Delphi doesn't devolve into a bunch of people screaming at each other for no reason.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So Mason, sorry.
I was going to say, when it comes to Reddit, I don't know if there's anything you can do to fix Reddit. Reddit's just Reddit is Reddit.
That's another one. It needs moderation, right? I hate to say that, and I get it. The FRC subreddit is a disaster. So and some of the memes are hysterical, and I get my laughs in on them without a doubt. But a lot of it's just bad. I don't know. It's in jokes that maybe are funny to two people, and they posted it and went huh, and then upvoted each other. So great, but I don't know. It's not helpful. The few times 900's tried to engage on the FRC subreddit, we've done AMAs, and We did one for like the beta test, which was kind of cool for the Robo Rio when that came out, which was a lot of fun actually. But even then, like some of that and some of the community, they take things really the wrong way and get angry about stuff. And I don't know. I don't know what to do about it other than it needs moderation. It needs people to step in and go, hey, this is okay. Hey, this isn't. It seems harsh, right? Like strict moderation doesn't necessarily sound like something fun, but it needs to happen. I also think part of that, though, moderators need to have a sense of humor and understand when something's sarcastic or snarky or funny, and they don't. And that's not just the moderators, the community in general, man. Some people take this way too seriously, and I don't get that. I crack jokes constantly. It's just my personality. It's how I am. It's how I was raised. I do it to blow off steam, to make myself, I don't know, just calm, and it's what I need to do. But other people don't understand
and
that. So
I think that actually, real quick, Mason, what is your take on all of this before we get too deep into the discussion?
You know, the cheap Delphi that I fell in love with a very long time ago isn't the same one that exists today, and so the internet changes. It's always evolving how people use it, how they reference it, and you know, Chief should change with it. And you know, maybe the moderators are you know, they're just volunteers. They're just trying to help. Maybe they don't have enough time to keep up with everything. Maybe you know, there needs to be a reevaluation of what, you know, Chief is and how it's used. But in general, I'm very laissez-faire. Like, let the people do what the people do. You know, of course, like, stop anything that's offensive to people or threats or personal attacks. You know, those definitely need to go out the window. But if it wants to turn into a place where people just make memes, like, all right, that's what it wants to turn into. And you know, the world will find another place to communicate technical conversations. But Chief has not been the place to have technical conversations for a long time. So, you know,
that's one of the things I've been wondering about, and I don't know. I am not interested in moderating, administrating another forum community. I've done it in my past lives. I have no desire to do it again. But at the same time, like, I wonder if a replacement for Chief is going to come along, and now is the time with some of this. And I don't know. It would require getting the right people involved early on and making sure that it's a place of content that's worthy. And I don't know. So maybe it's a time, maybe now's the time for the official first forum to somehow spring back to life. So I don't know. So everybody's laughing at that. It's amusing.
I think that I don't know, at least from what I've seen, I feel like Chief has become a place for the FRC, like, alumni and veterans and, you know, older mentors to really dig their heels in and have discussions. And it's like these other facets of, like, you know, forums have become where a lot of our high school students that we're mentoring are kind of harboring their conversations, which is good and bad. Like, that they've created a place that's, you know, for them, like the Discord. I didn't even know what Discord was until Fun switched over to Discord, and I had to have like a college mentor explain Discord to me 5 times. But now that I've seen it, it's like I'm figuring out, like, oh God, like, we had a student, you know, saying some really dumb stuff on Discord, and, like, you know, I spoke to Libby about, you know, what are Discord, and, like, how do I, like, check what my students are saying. And she was saying that she was a moderator at one point and people were awful to her. And it's just like a culture that just keeps breeding and evolving into something worse and worse. And that becomes the baseline standard for any, you know, student or mentor that's coming into the program. And it's hard to figure out where to go back and fix it. But it's awful.
To that end, I think it drains the moderators too. In fact, I think we've seen that recently in the Chief discussions in particular. Some of the moderators are just, they're clearly worn out from doing this, and they can't seem to step back to a higher, like, 50,000 foot level and go, this is clearly, I'm taking this too personally. Like, I need to step back and walk away from this for a little while. And it, you know, it's not just the moderators, to be clear, but, and to in fairness, you know, I'm definitely guilty of the same crap at times, and I certainly get it, but I don't know. It's just, it's not a happy place at the moment. It seems very strange to me, but I don't know, is what it is.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like, I was added into, like, like I'm on the fun Discord. I think I'm in some like chairman's Discord that I never check, and I'm in like the New England Discord, and just like the way that people speak to each other, or like the way they speak about other people, or about like, just the like the leadership of like our district. It's like, are your mentors like aware of how much of a jerk you're being, like, or just like how rude and like horribly you're representing your team in this like, little bubble of Discord that could easily be like screenshotted and like sent to other people? And I mean, I teach elementary school, and I'm like incredibly tough on my kids, and we're the same way with our students on 125. Like, we love to joke around, but like we have this very set baseline of like, this is how you treat people, like this is how you represent our team and our sponsors, and it doesn't matter if you're in Discord or if you're like, out on Einstein, like it doesn't matter. But I think that it's these like weird social media, or not social media, but just like social forum bubbles that are giving people this sense of like, well, I can say whatever I want, I can do whatever I want with no recourse. And it's bizarre to me.
It sounds like, Christine, like you're being a mentor. What a crazy concept.
That, like, take note, college mentors, please.
Yeah, we're the same way. When I was on 118, the Robotics, we were very, we imparted a lot of a vision of professionalism in all of our students. And it's not that they weren't allowed to go on Chief Delphi, but we made it very clear what they're representing is more than just themselves, but rather 20 years of students' work into a program with every comment they make. And as soon as you explain that and it clicks, then people don't act like frivolous children running around making first thing that comes in their head that's stupid and irrelevant. They treat it like a professional place. And I wish everyone mentored their students to some level that taught them that, but they don't. And, there's a lot of adults out there who set poor examples too. So, whatever. And that's too bad. But for a long time, I think Chief operated on those lines, and that made it a really good community. And I think going forward, we shouldn't just rely on our moderators to set the standards of the community. The community is driven by the people in the community. The moderators just are the bounds, they're the limits to make sure it doesn't get too far out of check. So it's really up to every individual to add to the community and make suggestions and try to pull together their peers to make it better, not to just wait for the moderators and say they're doing a bad job and just like wait for them to fix the problem. That's not how the world works. Like, individuals fix problems. They don't just wait for someone to tell them what to do.
Yeah. Yep. You heard it first from Mason. And real quick, we're gonna have Tyler hop on because I know he's a mod for Chief Delphi, and then we have a great question from
part of the problem.
Yeah, apparently. So
he's not
no,
the
I
problem,
I just want to give a couple things, because as a mod, I'm not nearly as active as some of the other mods. I kind of focus on a couple main channels, mainly user announcements, because I post it in half the time, and it makes it easier to approve my own posts. And then a couple others as they get reported. Usually, I'm pretty quick on the spot for those. So I agree a lot with a lot of the comments that have been said. It's one of those things where it's like running a first team or being on fun, right? We're all volunteers. We're all dedicating our time for these things. Yet at the same time, there has to be accountability for how that runs. Just because you're a volunteer doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want, right? And to me, Chief Delphi hasn't been updated for over a decade for many things, and I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the moderators or fault of the admin or anything like that. It's something that I think awareness is being brought to it, and now we need to act on it. And it should have been done a long time ago, maybe, but it wasn't. Now we're here where we are. Let's discuss it and figure out how to solve the problem moving forward. For me, I do like to keep things on topic. That's usually just my biggest thing, is if it is like truly off topic, but we do need to have clearly defining principles of what is on topic and what is not. In my personal opinion, memes are fine, but randomly posting memes that derail a subject are not. That's kind of the way that I view that. I don't necessarily go and just delete, based on my gut feeling on something like that. Most of the stuff, if it's not somebody spamming or doing something like that, usually I'll post. There's a mod forum where I'll usually solicit an opinion for something like that. Say, hey, do you guys feel this is spam or anything? And while it doesn't result in immediate action, at least we have a little bit of backup that way. So the mods do talk. I mean, that's kind of the way. There are some mods that are inactive, and we need to clean that up. And a lot of it, I think, is just there just has to be some refresh and standards set, some understanding with both the moderators and the community to realize, hey, we're all in this together. We need to make Chief Delphi a place that is both welcome to those who are new and those who have been around a long time, and we need to figure out a way to do that. No matter what we do, somebody's going to get pissed, right? No matter what decision gets made, Nobody's, there's never going to be 100% consensus, but we have to make a hard decision on what's going to be good for the community. And the last thing I'll say is I think the FRC Discord has done a relatively good job lately of doing that. They cleaned up a lot of the trash that was in there. And of course there's still some, but like on fun, I moderate real hard and we clean up a lot of stuff if it's, a bunch of BS or anything like that. But the downside to that is that it also causes people not to chat as much. And I'm okay with that personally because I don't want to keep cleaning stuff up every single day. But if we do want to keep an active community, we have to keep an open mind and have a little bit of humor and lay on some thick skin and not get offended by everything, I think is kind of the way to go.
Yeah, I tried to make the point in the to your comment about thick skin. I try and always make the point that gracious professionalism, to me at least, is a two-way street, right? It's saying the better thing sometimes, but it's also, if somebody says something that offends you, just step back for a second. Like, you can correct them and do so without being a complete jerk about it. I mean, I don't get it. The things that have been said to me because I have said something that is in tone sarcastic are not warranted. It just makes no sense. And I have many private messages from people who just get so offended by something, and I don't get it. I can't wrap my head around it. If you're offended, walk away for a second. Like, come back. It's the internet. It's strangers on the internet arguing with you. And
yep, and just general reminder for everybody in case you forgot, this is a high school robotics competition. Yeah. So keep that in mind moving into the 2019 season and beforehand.
Thank you to all of our co-executive producers, keeping fun loud, live, and independent. Pledge your support. Go to patreon.com/funfrc.